Okay, today 17 March. Let us continue with our lesson. This is the third video lesson, and our last lesson on this chapter 3. Okay, the last thing left is skewness. Let me get my pointer. Okay, if you look at this bar graph itself, this data, if it was perfect bell shape, then it will be a symmetrical data. But clearly, if you see this side of the data, I call it the monkey's tail. If you see the monkey's tail is longer this side, on the positive side, it is called positively skewed. Skewness is opposite of symmetry. Okay. Now, if you look at this side, you can see this tail here. The monkey's tail is longer on the left side. That is why it is called negatively skewed. Okay. So this data is positively skewed. Just by looking at the bar graph, you can comment. Let's go ahead. Okay, now from this box plot, clearly you see the gap here between the median and the upper quartile is much larger compared to the left side between the lower quartile and median. So again, this is positively skewed. It is stretched on the positive side, or the monkey's tail is longer on the right side. That's why it is positively skewed. Now, if you look at the second data, it is a perfect symmetrical data. The gap between the median and the upper quartile and same, the lower quartile and the median is exactly same. This is a symmetrical data. This side, again, this spread is on the left side. This gap is comparatively bigger, so it is negatively skewed. So one can comment skewness just from the box plot itself. If you don't have the box plot and you have the data only, then you don't need to draw a box plot. Clearly, if you see the Q3 minus Q2, which is this gap, if this gap is larger than Q2 minus Q1, which is this, so which is positively skewed. The other way around, if this Q3 minus Q2 is smaller, and Q3 minus Q2, this gap is smaller, then it is negatively skewed, and so on. So you can just use mathematically, using this formula, you can decide the skewness. No need to actually draw the plot. Let's go ahead. Okay, one can decide the skewness based on this formula also. In this formula, we don't use quartiles and median. We use, quartiles. We use median, mean, median, and standard deviation. So there's a formula: 3 times mean minus median over standard deviation. Now this gives you a number as an output. If the number is close to 0, then it is symmetrical. The more you go away from 0, it is skewed. Positive number tells you it's a positive, you will get a constant. If it's a positive constant, it is positively skewed. If you get a negative constant, it is negatively skewed. Now there is one more way of deciding the skewness by this. If mean is the highest, if comparatively compared to mean, median, and mode, if mean is the greatest, then it is positively skewed. If mean is the smallest compared to the mode, then it is negatively skewed. Clear? Let us take an example. Okay, this is exercise 3E, page 46 from your textbook. Go through this question, pause your video here, and then try to solve. I will discuss later. Okay, I hope you paused and you worked on it. So the question, in this question, informations are clearly given to you. They're telling you what is the quartile, what is the median, the lower quartile, the upper quartile. All informations are directly given to you. All you need to do is just put in this formula and get the answer. So now, if you put in this formula, you should have got 0.46, therefore a positively skewed data. For the second part, now they're asking, the agent wants to decide whether he should go for median quartile or mean and standard deviation. I've done the working here. See, if you do Q3 minus Q2, you get 5.1. If you do Q2 minus Q1, you get 3.9. So it is definitely a positively skewed data. And based on this positive skewness, Q3, these quartiles are better. Next, same thing. This question number 3 from your textbook, the very next page. Again, you can pause your video, go through the question, try to solve. Okay, I hope you must have solved now. Now, clearly a stem and leaf data is given to you, and based on this data, they want you to find the mode, median, quartile. We have done a similar question inside the class. Okay, I hope you got the mode as 64. The most repeating data is definitely 64 here. You see this 4, 4, 4, 4, which is telling you mode is 64. Median, there are two ways of doing median, one from cumulative frequency, one is just cancelling out. We did both in the class, so you should have got this answer. And based on your quartile, upper quartile, lower quartile and median, you have to draw the box plot. And now this is your box plot, and clearly we see that this gap is bigger than this, so definitely it's a positively skewed data. Next, again, we have done many examples of finding mean, standard deviation, so this part I don't think so should be a problem. You should have got the right answer. Next, now see the very important part of your examination question. At the end of each question you will see whether it is mean, median, standard deviation or regression correlation, which we are going to do later, chapter 5 and 6. They ask you to compare. I would like you to do a lot of past papers, this type of question. This is where students lose marks actually. So you make sure you do a lot of practice to how to compare and contrast. I've given an idea here. See, when you have extreme values, you see, you can compare data by using mean and standard deviation or by using median and interquartile range. If the data set contains extreme values, then median and interquartile range are more appropriate way to compare. I hope it's very clear. As far as the homework is concerned, I think it's enough if you just solve the worksheet I gave you in the group. So solve the worksheet and then we can go through your doubts. Okay, that's it. Signing off.